Hi everyone, welcome to the Peterson Wealth Services Point of View. I'm Shaun Peterson, this is Billy Peterson. Wanted to give you an update on the markets and of course the coronavirus. Right now this is causing lots of fear, countries basically shutting down, can't go to restaurants, can't go out and about, everyone's on lockdown. It's pretty scary times right now that we're living in. However, we believe that a lot of this is being driven by the media, causing a lot of fear. Remember, as you're watching all these news outlets, the more ratings they have, the better that they're doing. Not that this shouldn't be taken seriously, because it should. With things shutting down, we think we're likely headed to a recession, if not in a recession already.
Could be in one now.
Yeah, and that would not surprise us. What we want you to remember about recessions, what the technical term is for a recession, is 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. It doesn't mean a 2008, it doesn't mean a complete apocalypse, we're all standing in soup lines. We know these things are going to happen, and we're overdue for one. So don't let the news media panic you when they start using big terms. Markets typically price these things in and they're ahead of this. A recession is a lagging indicator. Economic numbers are going to keep coming out. You're going to see unemployment rate, you're going to see housing starts, all the things that we see. They're probably going to get worse before it gets better.
Unemployment might double from here. I mean, we have to be prepared for that.
Yes, we do.
But it's short term. That's our view right now.
Yep, and we'll navigate through it. We've been through these before. Now this one is different because it's happened so sharply. It's been a very, very rapid decline, which could pose for a very, very rapid recovery. Billy's going to talk about this a little bit further in the video, but there's already being things put in place. Stimulus package, business bailout things, different industries going to be helped out by the government. And we think there's going to be a lot of actually pent-up energy or people wanting to do things from the consumer themselves.
Well, we're talking about, as we stand here today, the government trying to come up with a fiscal stimulus package to distribute out here to the United States and get things going again. Unfortunately, government does what it does and turns everything into a political nightmare. And so it's all this posturing, gamesmanship, who's going to get what out of this. We're talking about $2 trillion worth of aid to us as U.S. citizens to just kind of help us move through this. As we know, several industries have been hit very hard. Travel industry for one, entertainment industry, the restaurant and food industry being hit. Other industries are actually performing quite well. People that we talk to in those channels are doing better than they've done in many years. So construction continues to thrive and people in manufacturing are doing good. What we're seeing now, trying to work through this whole pandemic, and I believe to me is the fear of what the outcome is. It's the unknown. It's how far is this going to take us? How quickly can we get things back to normal and move on? By the way, this video is a little longer than the others, and we're about 2 or 3 days after this gets recorded when you are seeing this, because we got through the channels to get it all approved. So some of this news might have changed. The $2 trillion they're trying to get hopefully approved might have been done as soon as we get this video concluded, and it might be out there and the process might change a little bit. So just know we're kind of going fluid with the information as it comes. What we're trying to understand and get our hands around is the markets, because that's what we deal in. That's why you're watching us. We deal in money, we deal in people's wealth, their livelihood, their retirement. All those things are near and dear to our hearts. We're trying to make the right decisions for people. So we've talked before in videos about what we do to protect in down markets where people need the cash, they're living on it, they need distributions, they rely on those. Those are the kind of issues that we're making sure we have some of that distribution already set aside. If you don't, we really want you to go back to thinking about why you were in the market in the first place. You're in a ship, think about it, you're going across the Atlantic, you get into a terrible storm and you've got to decide, do you trust the captain, do you trust that the seas are going to calm down eventually? Okay, that's the market. Or do you not feel good at all and you change your direction and your thoughts because you've gotten gripped and locked in on the media and the fear of what's to come? So if you're thinking that the market's going to go down, keep going down, never going to recover, then you probably shouldn't have been in the market to begin with. We've been through these a number of times in my career, 25-year almost career, and quite a few of these recessions, quite a few of these big declines, and the fear is always the same. It's always the same. It's hard for people to get through it. It's hard for people to see their statement and look at what they had and now what it's worth today. I don't like to use the term lost money because lost sounds like it's permanent. And these aren't permanent. what we're trying to get people to understand is this is a temporary revaluation of your values, of the assets that you own. Doesn't mean they've changed in any way. Doesn't mean Apple, Starbucks, Walmart, Costco, you name it, Amazon are all worse companies. It means that the values, for some reason, right now are temporarily reduced. Same thing with your home. Think about it. We use this analogy all the time. If you were to get valuations on your home every single second of the day, it'd drive you insane, it'd drive you crazy. You'd be thinking about selling if the values were continuing to go down over a 2 or 3 week period of time. That's what's going on with the market. On the one hand, it's very positive because it's so liquid. You can get your money out almost any time. On the other hand, it's so negative because it's so liquid. It's the same thing. Okay, you can do yourself a huge favor or make terrible decisions because of the liquidity factor with the stock market and with all markets that we deal in, capital markets in general. Okay, so let's come back to reality a little bit and talk about this stimulus package. When this market does finally get through this fear and we decide we're on the other side of that, I believe you're going to see a resurgence of the market in a phenomenal way. Like the market's going to move so much higher so quickly that many people are going to miss it. It's going to be a tremendous move higher because of the stimulus package, all this money that they've thrown in to small businesses to help consumers and to get people back on their feet. Similar to what we had in 2007, 8, 9 with the housing collapse. In this case, we don't have every industry collapsing around us. Also, we all know it's a temporary issue, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we start talking about the positives in the economy. What's going on that's positive? Can we relay anything that's positive, Shaun? You hear any messages out there?
I'm seeing a lot of things that are positive. Number one, where did this start? Started in China, right? What are we hearing from CEOs of big companies over there? They're back online. Manufacturing is coming back. So we're lagging China, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. So that's a positive thing that we're seeing right now.
Somehow they've gotten through it. I don't know if they have a secret vaccine, a secret cure, or somehow they did a much better job of containment. I doubt it. I think there's going to be a bigger story in the end when we look back on this, a much bigger story of what really happened here. Those are the things that we're trying to sort out.
The other positive is, they're doing so much more testing now, and a vaccine is likely on the way.
Correct.
We're going to see something that can slow this, something that can contain this, and people are going to get better. What I would also question is, why aren't people that have recovered, why is that not being reported?
Correct. That's a good
There's
point.
plenty of people that have recovered.
Oh, 98% of the people typically, maybe even 99% who have contracted this infection have recovered. We don't hear those stories. So what we're hearing is the people that are getting it. We're hearing about senators, we're hearing about government officials. Every day the news flow comes, and it's a fear-driven event.
Yeah.
So it keeps us on edge.
Yeah, it does. Everyone's in the same boat and everyone's worried, but we're doing the best that we can. The question we're getting right now from our clients is, why don't we sell and then we'll wait till we'll get back in later, right? It'll get worse and it'll get better. Here's why. It's very, very difficult to decide to get back into the market because it has to get worse, and no one wants to buy when it's worse. So why do we stay the course? I think this chart's a good reason why. This shows you back from 1987, if you missed the 25 best days as far as your recovery. So the blue is the S&P 500 missing the best 25 days. Purple is the S&P 500 staying in the boat. And then the gray is Barclays Ag, which tracks the bond market. So between this period, 87, to the end of last year, we did little simple math. It's about 8,000 days. So just missing the 25 best days.
Almost 9,000 days.
Here's the difference. And when did the 25 best days typically happen? Right after the worst days. That's why it's so hard to time the market. It sounds easy on paper, but it's really difficult. And that's why we've constructed diversified portfolios. We know our clients that are in distribution mode. Clients right now that are adding, this is your opportunity. This is where you up your 401k contributions. This is where if you have anything above your emergency fund, you consider adding that to your investment account. Turn this into a positive.
Stop trying to look at all the negatives out there and try to find something that's positive. Even in this quarantine, or if our state of Utah here, where we're coming from, you guys are watching this all over the country, we may end up with this self-containment policy as well. Governors all over the world are kind of being forced into this role because they don't want to have people come at them. It's a political nightmare for anyone who's elected. They know that if things don't get better, they are going to have the finger pointed at them. And it starts at the top all the way down. You can point your finger at President Trump or whoever you want, the administration, for failure. What we need to do, guys, is stop throwing swords at people and just calm down and collectively figure out how we get through this as a country and rally together. This is the time. If we can't rally together through something like this, we never will. And I'm ashamed of some people who are just out there throwing pot shots. Some of the people in the media who never want to give any credit where credit is due, ever. They always want to just find what's wrong. They're always focusing on the negative. Guys, if we're focused on the negative, I am a firm believer that it can attack your immune system in itself. If you're always in a negative mindset, you're more susceptible to contracting this issue and these viruses. Okay, let's talk for a brief moment about the number of cases. I know everyone hates to compare this to the flu, and I'm not trying to, but I'm trying to put some context around this. So this flu season alone, just this season in the United States, take a guess how many flu cases we recorded. 36 million. Okay, and this has been one of the worst flu seasons we've had in history in the US. Of those 36 million, 370,000 people have been hospitalized. Okay, and you talk about a run on these hospital beds, because again, you hear that in the media that we're all going to lose any type of help because everyone's going to need hospitalization. 370,000 already with the flu have been hospitalized. 22,000 have died from the flu just this season. Okay, now I know the number of cases in coronavirus are kind of a growing pattern right now. We're going to see a lot more cases. Of course, we know that. If you don't know that, you're not paying attention. So if you're going to be startled and surprised and let the media just freak you out every time a new case comes along, you're not paying attention. Know that this is going to happen. These things are going to take over, and we're going to have probably several thousand more deaths here in the US. But put that into context again. 22,000 deaths of the flu, of which, by the way, we've heard nothing. Not a story. Zero news. Nobody cares. Isn't that surprising to you? Doesn't that make you want to ask questions of why we haven't quarantined ourselves for the flu season or done a better job to prevent that from spreading? Just put that as maybe a food for thought you can think about later. Last chart we're going to go into here is just missing, the days or what happens after the worst months over time. And since 1985, we've gone back to take a look at really, really bad months in the market. We're on track right now, Shaun, I think, to be looking at the worst month since the Great Depression in the 1930s. So March of 2000 is going to go on track. We're going to be on this chart soon. But think about these other 10 worst days or worst months we've seen. And then just forecast that out of what actually happened over the next 1 year, over the next 3 years, and over the next 5 years. And the real pattern we see here is the percentage of time stocks were higher. And a lot higher in most cases, okay? You can see over a 3-year period, the average total return was 32.6% after these big 1 month declines. So over a 5-year period, the average increase was 75% roughly. And it was a 90% increase rate. This one right here threw it into a 90 because we haven't been enough history yet. So most likely this is actually 100% recovery or improvement from a decline like that in the market. So we're still advocating staying the course, know where we're at. You are in good hands with us. We're watching your portfolios closely. Anything else to add, Shaun?
I would just say we're here. If you need to talk to someone, if you want to talk more about your personal situation, call the office. We're able to take your call. If we're not available right that second, we will return it as quickly as possible. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it, and talk to you soon.
God bless you all out there.